Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhakta-vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanam Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Guru Shri Radhe Golokananda Bhagwan ki Jai.
जय
Guru Srimad Bhagavatam ki
जय
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Nisha. Hare Krishna Reena ji, after a long time.
हाँ भैया थोड़ा लंबा टाइम हो गया.
Hmm.
I fractured my foot, so because of that, I'm just kind of.
Oh my goodness, oh we didn't know that. अभी कैसे है?
बस ठीक चल रहा है अभी. 3 वीक और बाकी हैं अभी.
ओहो
Yeah, so good.
ओहो यानी टेक केयर. ऐसे ही चल रहा है आजकल सब. जस्ट हेलो तरुण. हरे कृष्णा. हेलो विनोद जी. हरे कृष्णा.
Yes, I got it.
Hare Krishna Gajan.
कृष्णा.
Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna.
ऑलराइट, शुरू करते हैं. तो एज यू नो वी आर ऑन 10th कैंटो. या 10th स्कंद. जैसे कि हम लोग जानते हैं टोटल 12 स्कंद है. And we are on 10th. 10th is the most auspicious skand, is all about Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. And हम लोग 34th अध्याय में हैं अभी. इसके पहले जो 4-5 अध्याय थे उसमें हमने गोपी गीत पढ़ा. राइट. We read about Ras Leela and you know how gopis sang that Gopi Geet at the Yamuna river. That was so blissful. And we also heard it a few times. And then, you know, we saw how Ras Leela took place. With how Lord Sri Krishna was described by gopis in that. And after Ras Leela, then in this adhyay, the last adhyay actually, in fact in this adhyay, 34th, what we have been reading is how all the Nanda Babas, Gwal Bals, everyone goes to do prayers for Lord Shiva. And then there, how one of the Sarp appears and he tries to ingest Nanda Baba himself. And then we read how Lord Shri Krishna saves Nanda Baba from the Sarp. And then we found out that that Sarp was none other than Sudarshan in the previous birth. And then he was relieved because of some curse in the previous births. And he took that lower yoni of snake, but then he was relieved of that by Lord Shri Krishna's charan, right? Lord Shri Krishna's feet. And then we are just reading after that what happens once about the Shankachud, right? That's what we'll be reading. So we'll start with Shlok 20. Anilji.
कदाचिदत् गोविन्दो रामश्चाद्भुत विक्रमः विजहर्तुर्वने रात्र्यां मध्यगो ब्रजयोषिताम्. Once Lord Govind and Lord Ram, the performers of wonderful feats, were playing in the forest at night with the young girls of Brij. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Lord Balram and Lord Krishna were in the one with all the gopis. Nisha?
उपगीयमानो ललितं स्त्रीजनैर्बद्ध सुहृदेः स्वलङ्कृतानलिप्ताङ्गो स्त्रगिनो विरजोऽम्बरो. Krishna and Balram wore flower garlands and spotless garments, and their limbs were beautifully decorated and anointed. The women sang their glories in a charming way, bound to them by affection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Rinaji, are you there, or Vinodji?
Yes. Nisa Mukham Manayantav Yudito Dupa Tarakam Mallika Gandh Matali Justam Kumud Vayuna. The two lords praised the nightfall signaled by the rising of the moon and the appearance of stars, a lotus-scented breeze, and bees intoxicated by the fragrance of jasmine flowers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tarun?
Jagatu sarva bhutanam manaha sarvana mangalam tu tav kalpayantu yugapat swara mandala murchitam. Krishna and Balram sang, producing the entire range of musical sounds simultaneously. The singing brought happiness to the ears and minds of all living beings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, their singing brought happiness to the ears and minds of all living beings. Yeah. So yes, Sarva Bhutanam Mana Shavan Mangalam. Yeah. Right. So all the Sarva Bhutanam, all the living beings, they brought the happiness. Yeah? Rinaji, Vinodji, Rinaji hai or she disconnected?
Yes. No, she is not there. No.
Achha, okay.
I can read.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Gopayastad gitam akarnya muruchita navidan nrupa sramasat dupulam atmanam srashta kesa srajam tata. The gopis became stunned when they heard that song. Forgetting themselves, O king, they did not notice that their fine garments were becoming loose and that their hair and garlands disheveled.
एवं विकृत ततोह स्वेरम गायतोह सम प्रमत्तवत शंखचूड़ैति ख्यातो धनदानुचरो अभ्यगात. While Lord Krishna and Lord Balram thus played according to their own sweet will and sank to the point of apparent intoxication, a servant of Kuver named Shankachud came upon the scene. Yeah. So while they were all playing, a Shankachud comes on the scene. Anilji?
Tayornirakshato rajyanstanatham pramudajanam koshantam kalayamasa dishyudichya mashankitaha. O king, even as the two lords looked on, Shankhachud brazenly began driving the women off toward the north. The women who had accepted Krishna and Balram as their lords began to cry out to them, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Sukhdev Goswami ji is telling Parikshit Maharaj about the Shankachud Katha. Right? What happens when Shankachud arrives the scene. Yeah. Nisha?
क्रोशन्तं कृष्णरामेति विलोक्य स्वपरिग्रहं यथागाधशून्याग्रस्ता भ्रातरावणवधावताम्. Hearing their devotees crying out Krishna Ram and seeing that they were just like cows being stolen by a thief, Krishna and Balram began to run after the demon. Hare Krishna.
Vinodji?
Yes, भैया. Ma bhastete abhay ravayu salahastayu taras vinayu ase datustam tarasa twaritam guha kadmam. The lords called out in reply, "Do not fear." Then they picked up logs of the sal tree and quickly pursued that lowest of Guhyakas, who swiftly ran away. Hare Krishna. So who are these Guhyakas?
That's the Shankachud, right? That's what I asked you?
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good. So when Shankachud comes, he starts driving all the gopis away, and that's when Lord Shri Krishna and Balram realizes, and so they are chasing Shankachud, basically.
Okay, okay.
Tarun?
स विक्ष्यात्व अनुप्रप्तो कालमृत्यु इवोद्विग्न विसृज्य स्विजनं मूढं प्राद्वज्जित्वितेच्छया. When Shankhakuda saw the two of them coming toward him like the personified forces of time and death, he was filled with anxiety. Confused, he abandoned the women and fled for his life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, when he saw Lord Shri Krishna and Balram coming towards him, Shankachud, he abandoned all the gopis and then he started running away. That's what is mentioned here. Tamanvadhavad Govindo yatra yatra se dhavati jihirshustas chiro ratnam tasto rakshan striyo balah. Lord Govind chased the demon wherever he ran, eager to take his crest jewel. Meanwhile, Lord Balram stayed with the women to protect them. Anilji?
अभिदूर इवाभ्येत्य शिरस्तस्य दुरात्मनः जहार मुष्टिनेवांग सह चूड़मणिं विभुः. The mighty Lord overtook Sankhachud from a great distance as if from nearby, my dear king, and then with his fist the Lord removed the wicked demon's head, together with his crest jewel. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
शङ्खचूडं निहत्यैवं मणिमादाय भास्वरम् अग्रजायादात्प्रीत्या पश्यन्तीनां च योषिताम्. Having thus killed the demon, Shankachud, and taken away his shining jewel, Lord Krishna gave it to his elder brother with great satisfaction as the gopis watched. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and that ends the purpose of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 10th canto, 34th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Nanda Maharaj Saved and Shankachud Slain. Yeah, so there are two kathas we read in this adhyaya is Nanda Maharaj, how he was saved by the serp, who was actually none other than Sudarshan or Vidyadhar in his previous birth, and then how Shankachud was killed by Lord Shri Krishna. So we'll continue reading the next adhyaya, Bolo Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Jai.
So we are now 35th adhyaya, and the 35th adhyaya is about the gopis sing of Krishna as he wanders in the forest. Yeah. So this is all after the Gopi Geet. This is after the Ras Leela, right? Now this chapter is talking about the singing of gopis, yeah, for Lord Shri Krishna. So let's start with Shlok 1. Anilji.
Shri Shukuvacha Gopyah Krishne Vanam Yate Tamanudvata Chetasah Krishna Lila Pragayantyo Nityurdukhen Vasuran. Sukadev Goswami said, Whenever Krishna went to the forest, the minds of the gopis would run after him, and thus the young girls sadly spent their days singing of his pastimes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So the gopis were so attached to Lord Shri Krishna. What Sukdev Goswami is saying, to whom? He is saying to
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Maharaj, right? So to Parikshit Maharaj is reciting this whole Srimad Bhagavatam. He's saying that when Gopya Krishna Vanam, when Krishna Bhagavan used to go to the forest, then gopis, man adbrut chetasa, they are saying like gopis' minds will always run after Krishna, right? So what will they do? They will sing Krishna Lila pragayantu. They will constantly spend time talking about Krishna Lila, yeah, and that's how they will spend their whole day. Is what Sukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj. And then they'll be singing his gatha. So we'll read from here, all the singing. Anisha.
Shri Gopyo Uchuha Vama Bahu Kruta Vama Kapolo Valgita Bhrura Dhararpita Venu Komalangali Bhirashrita Margam Gopya Ireti Yatra Mukunda यो मया नवनीताः सहसिद्धेर्विस्मितास्त धूपधार्य सलज्जाः काममार्गणसमर्पितचित्ताः कश्मलं ययुरपस्मृतन्युव्यः. The gopis said, when Mukund vibrates the flute, he has placed to his lips, stopping its holes with his tender fingers. He rests his left cheek on his left arm and make his eyebrows dance. At the time of the demi-goddesses traveling in the sky with their husbands, the Siddhas become amazed. As those ladies listen, they are embarrassed to find their minds yielding to the pursuit of lusty desires, and in their distress, they are unaware that the belts of their garments are loosening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Says here, when Mukund vibrates the flute, yeah, he rests his left cheek on the left arms and makes his eyebrows dance. So like that, all the gopis are remembering the Krishna Lila. Says Vam Bahu Krita Vam Kapul. Vam is the left, right? Left Bahu, left arm, right? And then says Abhrur Adhar Arpit Venum, right? Describes how how he looks when he is playing his flute. Vinodji?
अंत चित्रम अबलः श्रनुतेदम हर हसा उरासी स्थिर विद्युत नंद सुनर अयम अर्थ जननम नर्मदो यरहि कुजिता विना वृंदासो व्रजवर्षा मृगा गवो वेणुवद्य हर्ता सेतासा अर्थ दंत दस्ता कवाल धरता करना निद्रिता लिखिता चित्रम इवासन. Hare Krishna. O girls, this son of Nanda who gives joy to the distressed bears steady lightning on his chest and has a smile like a jewel necklace. Now please hear something wonderful. When he vibrates his flute, Vraj, bulls, deers, and cows, standing in groups at a distance, are all captivated by the sound, and they stop chewing the food in their mouth and cock their ears. Stunned, they appear as if asleep or like figures in a painting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So the gopis are singing and on Krishna Lila, right? They are saying what happens when he vibrates his flute. Okay? Says here, when Venu Vadhyat Chetasara. What happens? Vrindesho Vraj Vrisha Mrig Gao, right? And they stand like they stop eating and stands like Nidrita Likita Chitram Vasanam, like they are standing like a statue. So they are totally focused on the sound of Lord Shri Krishna's flute, yeah, Venu.
And everyone is mesmerized.
Right. Yeah. Read the purport, Tarun.
The word Sthira Vidyut, steady lightning, refers to the goddess of fortune who resides on the chest of the Supreme Lord. When the animals of Vrindavana hear the sound of the flute, they become stunned in ecstasy, and thus they stop chewing their food and cannot swallow it. The gopis, in separation from Krishna, marvel at the extraordinary effect of the Lord's flute playing. Srila Sridhara Swami gives the following explanation of the compound word Hara Rasa, which compares Lord Krishna's smile to a necklace. The word can mean he whose smile is brilliantly clear like a jeweled necklace, or he whose smile is reflected from his jeweled necklaces. Because while Krishna plays the flute, he bends his head down and smiles. The word can also mean he whose smile, like a jeweled necklace, casts its effulgence among his chest, or he whose necklaces shine brilliantly just like a smile. Hare Krishna.
बहिर्नस्तवक धातु पलाशे बदमल परिबर्ह विडम्बः कहिर्चित् सबल आलिस गोपे गारि समायति यत्र मुकुन्दः तहिर्भग्नगतयः सरितो वे तत्पाद कदा अम्बुजजर्जो अनिलनीतम् स्पृहयतिर्वयमिवा बहुपुण्या है प्रेम वेपित भुजास्तमितापः. My dear Gopi, sometimes Mukund imitates the appearance of a wrestler by decorating himself with leaves, peacock feathers, and colored minerals. Then, in the company of Balram and the cowherd boys, he plays his flute to call the cows. At that time, the rivers stop flowing. Their water is stunned by the ecstasy. They feel as they eagerly wait for the wind to bring them the dust of his lotus feet. But like us, the rivers are not very pious, and thus they merely wait with their arms trembling out of love. Yeah. So again, my dear Gopi and Gopis are singing this together, right? And they are talking to themselves, and they are saying what happens when he plays his flute to call the cows, right? Says here, like when he plays that, then what happens? Tahir bhagna gataya saritove. Sarito, right? The river stops flowing, stands right there, and they wait for what? Pad ambuj, lotus feet. Yeah, the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. They wait. Raj, right? Raj is the dhul of lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. And who will bring that to the river is Anil Nitam. Anil is the Vayu. Yeah. So the river are waiting that the Vayu will bring the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. But they are not Bahu Punya like us, is what gopis are saying. So they just wait with like prem, like with the love, right? On their arms, they are just waiting for Sri Lord Shri Krishna. Is that's how they are describing and they are singing. Yes, Anilji?
The gopis state here that the sound of Krishna's flute causes even inanimate objects like rivers to become conscious and then stunned in ecstasy. Just as the gopis could not always be in Krishna's physical association, the rivers could not come to the Lord's lotus feet. Although they desired the Lord, their movement was checked by ecstasy, and their arms, their waves, trembled with love of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna?
अनुचरेह समनुवर्णितवीर्य आदिपुरुष इवाचलभूतिः वनचरो गिरितटेषु चरन्ति वेणुनाह्यति गाः स यदाहि वनलतास्तरौ आत्मनि विष्णुं व्यज्जयन्त्य इव पुष्पपलाढ्याः प्रणतभारवीटपा मधुधाराः प्रेमहृष्टतनवो ववृषुः स्म दर्शनीयतिलको वनमाला दिव्यगन्धतुलसी मधुमतेः अलिकुले लघुगीताम भीष्ट माद्रियन यर्हि संधित वेणुः सरसी सार सहसा विहंगा विहंगाश्चा चारुगीता हृतचेतस्य एत्य हरिमुपासत ते यत्त चित्ता हंत मिलित दृशो घृतम मोनः. Krishna moves about the forest in the company of his friends, who vividly chant the glories of his magnificent deeds. He thus appears just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exhibiting his inexhaustible opulences. When the cows wander onto the mountainside and Krishna calls out to them with the sound of his flute, the trees and the creepers in the forest respond by becoming so luxuriant with the fruits and flowers that they seem to be manifesting Lord Vishnu within their hearts. As their branches bend low with the weight, the with the filaments of their trunks and vines stand erect out of the ecstasy of love of God, and both the trees and their creepers pour down a rain of sweet sap. Maddened by the divine honey-like aroma of the tulsi flowers on the garland Krishna wears, swarms of the bees sing loudly for him, and that the most beautiful of all persons thankfully acknowledge and acclaims their song by taking his flute to his lips and playing it. The charming flute song then steals away the minds of the cranes, swans, and other lake-dwelling birds. Indeed, they approach Krishna, close their eyes, and maintaining strict silence, worship him by fixing their consciousness upon him in deep meditation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so they approach Krishna and worship him by fixing the consciousness in deep meditation. And this is who is saying all this, who is singing this?
Sukadev Goswami.
Yeah, Sukadev Goswami is telling this to Parikshit Maharaj, but then who is singing? Who is singing those sloks? So, all the gopis, right? So, all the gopis together are singing when Lord Shri Krishna has gone to the one, right? He takes the cows and he goes to the one when gopis are still in Vrindavan, right? In the village. So, when they cannot see Lord Shri Krishna, they remember him and their Lila, Krishna Lila, and they are singing and they are remembering Lord Shri Krishna. Yeah. So, all the gopis are singing this. Abhinavji?
Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has made several illuminating comments on these verses. He gives the analogy that just as when householder Vaishnavas hear a Sankirtan party approaching, they become ecstatic and offer obeisances, so the trees and creepers in Vrindavan became ecstatic when they heard Krishna's flute and bowed low with their branches and vines. The word Darsaniya Tilak in text 10 indicates not only that the Lord is the most excellent to see, but also that he decorated himself with attractive reddish tilak taken from the mineral-rich earth of Vrindavan forest. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti also points out that Tulsi, although exalted in many ways, is not normally considered an especially fragrant plant. However, early in the morning, Tulsi emits a transcendental fragrance that ordinary people cannot perceive, but that transcendental personalities fully appreciate. The bees, who are privileged to swarm about the flower garlands worn by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, certainly appreciate this fragrance. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes from the Bhagavatam 3:15.19 to the effect that the most fragrant plants in Vaikuntha also appreciate the special qualifications of Tulsi Devi. The word Sandhita Venu in text 10 indicates that Lord Krishna placed his flute firmly upon his lips, and the melody emanating from that flute is certainly the most enchanting of sounds, as the gopis describe in this chapter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. As the gopis are constantly describing what's happening and how the sound of Venu is attracting everyone. Yeah. Tarun? Tarun? Tarun, you are there?
Sorry. Yeah. Sahabala स्वर्गवन्तमस्य विलासः सानुषु क्षितिभृतो व्रजदेव्य हर्षेण यही वेणुरवेण जातहर्ष उपरभति विश्वम् महदतिक्रमण शक्तिचेता मंद मंद मनुग्रजति मेघ सुहृदतं दम भव्यवर्षत सुमनोभि छायाया च विदधत् पत्रम. Hare Krishna. O goddess of Vraja, when Krishna is enjoying himself with Balram on the mountain slopes, playfully wearing a flower garland on the top of his head, he engladdens all with the resonant vibrations of his flute. Thus he delights the entire world. At that time, the nearby cloud, afraid of offending a great personality, thunders very gently in accompaniment. The cloud showers flowers onto his dear friend Krishna and shades him from the sun like an umbrella. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, again, gopis are saying what happens when Lord Shri Krishna is playing the flute. विविध गोप चरणेशु विद गधो वेणुवाद्य वृथा निज शिक्षा है तौ सुतः सती यदाधरम बिंबे बिंबे दत्त वेणुरनयत स्वर जाति है सवन शस्त्र दुर्प्रधाय सुरेशा है शक्र सर्व परमेष्टि पुरोगा है कवय आनत कंधर चिता है कश्मलम ययूर निश्चित तत्वा है. O pious Mother Yashoda, your son, who is expert in all the arts of herding cows, has invented many new styles of flute playing. When he takes his flute to his bimba red lips and sends forth the tones of the harmonic scale in variegated melodies, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and other chief demigods become confused upon hearing the sound. Although they are the most learned authorities, they cannot ascertain the essence of that music, and thus they bow down their heads and hearts. Saying like when Lord Sri Krishna is playing the flute, even the demigods, the chief demigods, right? The chief gods like Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, even they get confused and they think like this sound is beyond their imagination. And so they bow down their heads and hearts, is what is mentioned here. It says here, Shakra is the Lord Indra, Sharva is Lord Shiva, Parmesti is referred to Lord Brahma, and they basically, get surprised by hearing that sound of Venu. Anilji?
The words Tav Sutah Sati, your son, O chaste lady, clearly indicate that at this point Mother Yashoda is among the young gopis as they earnestly describe Lord Krishna's glories. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti, among the demigods led by Shakra, Lord Indra, were Upendra, Agni, and Yamaraj. Among those led by Sharva, Lord Shiva were Katyayani, Skanda, and Ganesh, and among those led by Paramesthi, Lord Brahma, were the four Kumaras and Narad. Thus, the best collective intelligence in the universe could not definitively analyze the enchanting musical arrangements of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Isha.
निज पदाम्बज दले ध्वज वज्र नीरजांग विचित्र ललामेय व्रज भुवः शमयन हुरदोदम वर्ष्मधुर्य गतिरिडित वेणुः व्रजति तेन वयं सविलास वीक्षणार्पितमनो भववेगाः कुजगतिं गमितान् विदामः कश्मलेन कवरं वसनं वा. As Krishna strolls through the Vraj with his lotus petal-like feet, making the ground with the distinctive emblems of flag, thunderbolt, and lotus and elephant goat, he relieves the distress the ground feels from the cows' hooves as he plays his renowned flute. His body moves with the grace of an elephant. Thus, we gopis who became agitated by Cupid when Krishna playfully glances at us stand as still as trees, unaware that our hair and garments are slackening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, says here Mother Yashoda is no longer in the company of the gopis. Right? In the previous slok, we saw that they were talking to Mother Yashoda and then who are confidently describing their conjugal attraction to Sri Krishna. It's clear from the comments of G. Goswami and other acharyas that the statements in this chapter are made at various times and places. This is natural since the gopis were always absorbed in thoughts of Sri Krishna day and night. Vinodji?
क्वचिदा गळयगा मालया दैत गंध तुलस्या प्रणयिनो अनुचरस कदासे प्रक्षिपन भुज मगायत यत्र क्वणितवेणु वर वजित चिताः कृष्ण मनवस्त कृष्ण गृह्य गुणगणा मनुगत हरिणयो गोपिका इव विमुक्त ग्रहसः. Now Krishna is standing somewhere counting his cows on a string of gems. He wears a garland of tulsi flowers that bear the fragrance of his beloved, and he has thrown his arm over the shoulder of an affectionate cowherd boyfriend. As Krishna plays his flute and sings, the music attracts the black deer's wives who approach that ocean of transcendental qualities and sit down beside him. Just like us cowherd girls, they have given up all hope for happiness in the family life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Right? It says like they've given hopes in the family life, but they have been attracted by Lord Sri Krishna and his ocean of transcendental qualities. Tarun?
Srila Jiva Goswami explains that in the afternoon, Sri Krishna dressed himself in new clothing and then went out to call the cows home. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the following information about the transcendental cows of Vrindavana. For each of the four colors of cows, white, red, black, and yellow, there are 25 subdivisions, making a total of 100 colors. And such qualities as being colored like sandalwood pulp, tilaka, speckled, or having a head shaped like a mridanga drum create 8 further groups. To count these 108 groups of cows, distinguished by color and form, Krishna is using a string of 108 jewel beads. Thus, when Krishna calls out, "Hey, Davali," the name of a white cow, a whole group of white cows come forward. And when he calls Hamsi, Chandani, Ganga, Mukta, and so on, the 24 other groups of white cows come. The reddish cows are called Aruni, Kumkuma, Saraswati, etc. The blackish ones, Shyamala, Dhumala, Yamuna, etc. And the yellowish ones, Pita, Pingala, Haritalika, etc. Those in the group with tilaka marks on their foreheads are called Chitrita, Chitra Tilaka, Dirgha Tilaka, and Tiryak Tilaka. And there are groups known as Mridanga Mukhi, Mridanga head, Simha Mukhi, lion head, and so on. Thus being called by name, the cows are coming forward, and Krishna, thinking that when it is time to bring them back from the forest, none should be forgotten, is counting them on his jewel beads. Hare Krishna.
कुंदधाम कृत कौतुक वेशो गोप गोधन वृतो यमुनायाम नंद सुनु नर नधेत वत्सो नर्मदः प्रणयिणाम विजहार मंद वायु रूप वात्यनुकूलम मानयन मलयजस्पर्शेन वंदिनस्तमुपदेव गणाये वाद्य गीत बलिभिः परिवौ. O sinless Yashoda, your darling child, the son of Maharaj Nand, has festively enhanced his attire with a jasmine garland, and he is now playing along the Yamuna in the company of the cows and cowherd boys, amusing his dear companions. The gentle breeze honors him with its soothing fragrance of sandalwood, while the various Upadevas, standing on all sides like panegyrists, offer their music, singing, and gifts of tribute. Is how all the gopis are singing song for Lord Shri Krishna. Anilji?
Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the gopis are again in the courtyard of Mother Yashoda, the queen of Braj. They are trying to encourage her by describing Krishna's return to Vrindavan after he has spent the day herding cows and playing. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that the Upadevas, the minor demigods mentioned here, include the Gandharvas, who are famous for their celestial music and dancing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nisha? Nisha?
वत्सलो व्रजगवां यदगध्रो वन्द्यमानचरणः पथिवृद्धेः कुत्स्नगोधनु मुपोह्यन्तिनान्ते गीतवेणुनुगेडितकीर्तिः उत्सवं श्रमरुचापि दृशिना मुन्नयन खूररजश्चुरितस्त्रक दित्सयेति सब्ददासीश एष देवकी जठर भुरुडुराजः. Out of the great affection for the cows of Braj, Krishna became the lifter of the Govardhan hill. And at the end of the day, having rounded up all his own cows, he plays a song on his flute, while exalted demigod standing along with the path worship his lotus feet, and the cowherd boys accompanying him chant his glories. His garland is powered by the dust raised by the cows' hooves, and his beauty, enhanced by his fatigue, creates an ecstatic festival for everyone's eyes. Eager to fulfill his friend's desires, Krishna is the moon arisen from the womb of Mother Yashoda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is what gopis are saying. This is how gopis are singing, right? About Lord Shri Krishna when they are remembering Lord Shri Krishna. Vinodji?
According to the Acharyas, at this point, the gopis climbed into the watchtowers of Vrindavan's houses so they could see Krishna as soon as possible when he returned home. Mother Yasoda was very anxious for her son to come back, and therefore she had the tallest of the beautiful young gopis climbed up to see when he would arrive. It is implied here that Krishna was somewhat delayed on the way home because his lotus feet were being worshipped by great demigods along the path. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Varun?
Madha Vigdurnita Lokana Isat Ishtata Manada Swa Suhrada Vanamali Badar Pandurvadano Mridangana Mandangyana Kanaka Kundala Lakshmaya Yadupati Dvirjaradara Javiharo Yamini Patirishe Vesha Dinante Muditavatra Upayati Durantaha Mochayanam Vrajgama Dinatapamam. Hare Krishna. As Krishna respectfully greets his well-wishing friends, his eyes roll slightly as if from intoxication. He wears a flower garland, and the beauty of his soft cheeks is accentuated by the brilliance of his golden earrings and the whiteness of his face, which has the color of a badara berry. With his cheerful face resembling the moon, Lord of the night, the Lord of the Yadus moves with the grace of a regal elephant. Thus he returns in the evening, delivering the cows of Raja from the heat of the day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sri Shukvacham Evam Vradistriyo Rajan Krishna Lila Anugayati Re Mere Ham Sutachista Stana Manaska Mahodaya. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, O king, thus during the daytime, the women of Vrindavan took pleasure in continuously singing about the pastimes of Krishna. And those ladies' minds and hearts, absorbed in him, were filled with great festivity. Yeah. So always Gopi's mind was absorbed in Lord Sri Krishna. And so they have been, and they take pleasure in continuously singing about the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. Krishna Lila Anugayati hai. Anilji?
This verse definitely confirms that the so-called pain of the heartbroken gopis is actually great spiritual bliss. On the material platform, pain is pain, period. But on the spiritual platform, so-called pain simply a different variety of spiritual ecstasy. In the Western countries, people take pleasure in mixing different flavors of ice cream to produce wonderful combinations of flavor. Similarly, on the spiritual platform, Sri Krishna and his devotees expertly mixed the flavors of spiritual bliss, and thus every day was a treat for the gopis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So this is how all the gopis are together, remembering and singing for Lord Sri Krishna. Yeah. And thus ends the purpose of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 35th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Gopis Sing of Krishna as He Wanders in the Forest. Follow Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Jai.
So we complete the 35th adhyay, and then 36th adhyay is about the slaying of Arista, the bull demon. And I think we'll read about this katha of Lord Sri Krishna maybe tomorrow. I think we'll pause here. And as we know, we had Ram Lila. I'm sorry,
Ram Navami. Yeah.
Ram Navami, right? We have been reading Krishna Lila, but we had Ram Navami this Friday, this Thursday, right? Sorry, on when did we have Ram Navami? On Thursday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. So that's nice. And so we'll hear some Ram Bhajan. Yeah, and then we will continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow.
Sitaram, 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 Jai Sitaram. Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, Sitaram, Jai Sitaram. दशरथ नंदन राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। जानकी वल्लभ राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। कमल लोचन राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। जानकी वल्लभ राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम, 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 जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन जानकी वल्लभ राजा राम, पतित पावन दशरथ नंदन राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम। पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम जय सीताराम, सीताराम जय सीताराम। जानकी वल्लभ राजा, पतित पावन सीताराम। सीताराम 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 सीताराम, सीताराम 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 सीताराम, सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम। सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम।
बोलो श्याम रामचंद्र भगवान की
जय।
जय।
That was very good.
जय।
Yeah, nice Ram Bhajan.
Yep.
And then we'll continue reading the 10th canto tomorrow, 9 p.m. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna everyone.